Ladies and gentlemen, every day life moves fast. We're constantly reacting to messages, to tasks, to other people's energy. But in the midst of this rush, there's one habit that, when practiced consistently, has the power to quietly and profoundly change everything: the habit of self-reflection. Not in a casual or random way, but in a committed daily practice. A moment you carve out just for yourself. A moment of clarity in the noise. Imagine waking up and not immediately grabbing your phone or rushing into your list of responsibilities. Instead, you pause. You sit with your thoughts. You ask yourself powerful questions. How do I feel right now? What did I learn yesterday? Am I proud of how I responded to life? What do I want to bring into this day? These aren't dramatic questions. They're gentle, simple, but honest. And when answered consistently, they create a deeper connection with yourself than most people ever experience. The truth is, most of us live unconsciously. We repeat the same thoughts, feelings, and behaviors day after day without ever asking why. We chase goals that may not even belong to us, react based on old programming and past pain. But when we reflect daily, truly reflect, we start to notice. We catch patterns. We see which habits are helping and which are harming. Discover the root of our procrastination, our frustration, our fears. We begin to understand ourselves. Self-reflection isn't about judgment. It's not about sitting down and criticizing every mistake. It's the opposite. It's about holding space for yourself with compassion and curiosity. It's about meeting your mind like you would meet a friend, listening, understanding, supporting. This shift in relationship with yourself is the foundation for lasting change. Because once you see clearly, you can't unsee. Once you become aware, you can no longer stay asleep to your patterns. The most successful, grounded, and fulfilled people in the world have this habit in common. They make time to reflect, even if it's just for 5 minutes. And over time, those 5 minutes become a mirror that shows not just who you are right now, but who you're becoming. It's where your vision sharpens. It's where your inner voice gets louder than the external noise. It's where you remember what matters to you. This habit teaches you presence. It teaches you to stop drifting and start choosing. It trains your mind to respond instead of react. And when that becomes your baseline, everything begins to shift. Your relationships improve because you become more emotionally intelligent. Your goals feel more aligned because you're no longer acting out of pressure or confusion. Your confidence grows not from external validation, but from deep inner clarity. There's a quiet power in reflection that most people overlook because it doesn't give instant results. But if you stay consistent, you'll begin to feel it. Your mornings won't feel so chaotic. Decisions will come with ease. You'll notice when you're slipping into old patterns and gently redirect yourself. You'll become your own coach, your own guide, your own source of motivation. And here's something most people don't realize: you don't need an hour. You don't need the perfect journal or the perfect setting. You just need intention. You need honesty. You need a moment of stillness. Maybe you write your thoughts down. Maybe you record a voice note. Maybe you just sit in silence and ask yourself, what did I need today that I didn't give myself? That's where the shift begins. This habit isn't loud, but it is transformational. It slowly rewires your brain. It opens your heart. It realigns your path. And if you practice it daily, even imperfectly, it will create ripple effects in every part of your life. You'll stop waiting for circumstances to change and start becoming the person who changes them. Because when you know yourself deeply, you trust yourself deeply. And when you trust yourself, you stop playing small. That is the true magic of self-reflection. It is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It is the foundation for growth, clarity, confidence, and peace. One habit practiced daily that creates a world within you so steady, so aligned, that it begins to change the world around you. That's the kind of power most people are searching for, and it's already within reach. All it takes is a few quiet moments every day to look inward and listen. Most people don't realize the full extent of how powerful their thoughts truly are. They go through life believing that circumstances shape their reality, that external events determine their happiness, success, or identity. But what if the real shift happens not in the world outside you, but in the thoughts you allow inside your mind? What if the world you live in is simply a reflection of what you consistently think and believe? That idea might sound simple, even obvious. When it becomes a lived truth, when it turns into a daily habit of choosing your thoughts with intention, it becomes the most life-changing realization you'll ever experience. Your thoughts are not just passing clouds or background noise. They are instructions to your brain. They shape your emotions, your decisions, and your behavior. Every result you see in your life today, whether it's your confidence, your finances, your relationships, or your sense of peace, began as a thought. Repeated thoughts become beliefs. and your beliefs silently guide everything you do. So if your thoughts are filled with fear, doubt, or limitation, your life will mirror that back to you. But if your thoughts are grounded in possibility, growth, and self-belief, the world around you starts to respond in the same energy. That's why developing the habit of intentional thinking is non-negotiable. And no, that doesn't mean forcing positivity or pretending things are perfect. It means becoming conscious of what you're thinking throughout the day and having the courage to shift what no longer serves you. It's about interrupting the automatic stories that say, I'm not good enough, this will never work, or people don't change, and replacing them with something that opens you up instead of shutting you down. Even something as subtle as shifting from, I can't, I'm learning, can create space for growth where there was once resistance. Most people aren't thinking, they're just remembering. They're replaying old patterns, old criticisms, old fears. And because those thoughts are familiar, they seem true. But they're not truth, they're just habits of the mind. That's the secret most people never learn. Thoughts are not facts, they are choices. And the more aware you become of what you're choosing to think, the more powerful you become in shaping your own life. This is where the magic begins. When you start to practice this awareness daily, whether during your morning routine, while journaling during a quiet walk, even in the middle of a chaotic day, you start to reclaim your power. You start to notice when you're spiraling into fear or lack, and you pause, you take a breath, and you choose again, not in a forced, fake way, but in a way that aligns with who you're becoming, a way that reflects your vision, not your past. That habit, over time, builds mental strength, clarity, and deep resilience. Because your outer world can be uncertain, people can disappoint you, plans can fall apart, but your inner world, that's yours to shape. And when your thoughts are rooted in peace, possibility, and purpose, nothing can shake you for long. Even setbacks become setups. Even pain becomes perspective. You begin to walk through life with more ease because your mind is no longer a battlefield, it's a sanctuary. And this isn't just about mindset, it's about energy. The thoughts you hold most often become the energy you radiate. And energy is magnetic. When you begin to consistently think and feel in alignment with what you want to create, whether it's success, love, confidence, or clarity, you begin to attract people, opportunities, and experiences that match that energy. You don't have to force your way into rooms anymore. You become the kind of person those rooms were made for. So don't underestimate what it means to choose your thoughts. Don't treat it like a soft skill. It is the foundation of transformation. The habit of intentionally shaping your thoughts will shift your beliefs, your behavior, and ultimately your entire identity, because who you are is not fixed. It's created moment by moment, thought by thought. And when this becomes your default way of living, when you no longer let your thoughts run on autopilot, but instead take the wheel, you stop surviving and start creating. You stop being a victim of life and start becoming the architect of it. This is what it means to truly change your world from the inside out. One habit, one thought, one moment at a time. There's a reason the world's most self-aware, grounded, and visionary individuals return to one simple yet powerful habit: journaling. It's not because they have more time or fewer distractions than the rest of us. It's because they understand something that changes the way they move through life. That clarity, focus, and transformation don't just happen. They are created. And the tool they use to create them again and again is the blank page. Journaling isn't just writing for the sake of writing. It's a habit of checking in, of slowing down, of stepping out of the chaos of the mind and into the stillness of truth. It's where your unspoken thoughts are given a voice, where your dreams take form, and where your limiting beliefs are exposed and gently rewritten. For just a few minutes a day, you step away from the noise of the world and reconnect with the world within. This habit doesn't require hours of effort. It doesn't require perfect grammar, elegant handwriting, or deep philosophical insight. All it requires is honesty, a willingness to put pen to paper and meet yourself exactly where you are, messy, raw, unfiltered. And it's in that meeting that growth begins. Because in that space, finally get to hear what your mind is really saying. You start to see the patterns, the fears, the doubts, and you start to take your power back from them. One of the most transformational things you can do in your journal is practice intentional gratitude. Each morning or night, you write down just 3 things you're thankful for. Not just the big wins, the quiet moments, the tiny victories, the things you'd normally overlook. This trains your brain to focus on abundance instead of lack, on progress instead of perfection. Over time, your mind starts to seek the good automatically, and that changes how you feel, how you speak, and how you live. But journaling goes beyond gratitude. It's also a space for vision, a place where you declare what you want, where you visualize the life you're building, where you write as if your goals are already reality. This activates something powerful within you. Tells your subconscious, this is who I am now. And when your subconscious begins to believe it, your actions start to align. Suddenly, your decisions, habits, and priorities reflect the person you're becoming, not the person you used to be. Another powerful way to use this habit is to reframe limiting beliefs. You notice a thought like, I'm not good enough, or I'll never make it. You write it down, not to dwell on it, but to challenge it. You ask yourself, is this thought true? Where did it come from? And what truth do I want to choose instead? That moment of questioning begins the shift. And with repetition, the new belief becomes stronger than the old one. Some days, your journal will be filled with clarity and vision. Other days, it will hold confusion, sadness, or anger. And that's okay, because it's not about being positive all the time. It's about being real. It's about giving your emotions a safe place to land so they don't get trapped inside. The more you allow yourself to be seen on the page, the less you'll fear being seen in the world. You begin to develop emotional intelligence, self-compassion, and inner strength, all by simply telling the truth to yourself day after day. This habit also helps you stay grounded in the present, pulls you out of the past and brings you back to what's real right now. And in a world that constantly pushes you to be somewhere else, chasing more, comparing yourself, doubting your worth, that kind of presence is a superpower. You begin to feel more in control, more calm, more connected. You begin to trust yourself again. And here's the beauty of it. The impact is compounding. One entry may not change your life, but one entry a day over weeks and months becomes a roadmap of your growth. You start to see how far you've come. Catch the moments you almost gave up, and you remember the strength it took to keep going. Your journal becomes evidence of your evolution. And when the doubt creeps in, you have a record that says, I've been here before, and I kept rising. That's why journaling, when practiced with intention, becomes more than a habit. It becomes a ritual, a sacred space where transformation happens quietly, powerfully. A daily decision to choose clarity over confusion, truth over noise, and vision over fear. It is one of the simplest yet most profound ways to change your inner world, and when your inner world shifts, everything else follows. Easy to underestimate how much your life can change in just 5 minutes. We often believe transformation must be complex or time-consuming, that we need hours of meditation, deep therapy, drastic life changes to truly feel different. But in truth, it often begins with a simple practice that fits quietly into your day, taking 5 intentional minutes, either in the morning or evening, to tune in, reset, and shift your energy. When done with presence and purpose, those 5 minutes can become the most powerful part of your day. In the morning, your mind is like fresh soil. It's still waking up, still soft, still open. What you plant in those first few minutes sets the tone for everything that follows. If you reach for your phone and flood your brain with messages, headlines, or other people's energy, you start your day in reaction mode. You become disconnected from yourself before you even have a chance to check in. If you instead choose to begin with just 5 minutes of intention, whether it's journaling, breathing, reflecting, or repeating a few powerful affirmations, you take back ownership of your mindset. You tell your mind and body, this is who I am. This is the energy I choose. This is the direction I'm moving in. It doesn't have to be complicated. Sit in silence. Put your hand over your heart. Breathe deeply. Ask yourself, what do I need today? Who do I want to be today? What energy do I want to bring into the world? Maybe you write down your answers. Maybe you visualize your ideal day. Maybe you say a few empowering words out loud. I am focused. I am calm. I am capable. Those 5 minutes are like an energetic anchor. They remind you of your power before the world tries to make you forget. And at night, it works the same way, except instead of setting the tone for your day, you're letting go of everything that doesn't need to come with you into tomorrow. Evening reflection is one of the most overlooked yet healing habits you can adopt, because your brain doesn't stop processing when you sleep. It holds on to unresolved emotions, stressful conversations, and unfinished thoughts. But when you give yourself just 5 minutes before bed to process the day, to express gratitude, to forgive yourself for anything that didn't go perfectly, to acknowledge what you're proud of, you allow your nervous system to soften. You close the day with intention, which helps you sleep better, dream clearer, and wake up lighter. 5-minute practices might seem too simple to matter, but over time, they change your baseline. They become a rhythm, a sacred pause, a moment that says, I'm not living on autopilot. I'm choosing my energy. I'm choosing my thoughts. I'm choosing who I want to be. And that small act of choosing repeated daily becomes a kind of inner strength that carries into every part of your life. Because let's face it, most people don't feel out of control because they're lacking motivation. They feel out of control because they're disconnected from themselves. They're so caught up in doing, reacting, and rushing that they never stop to ask, how am I actually feeling? What do I truly want? What patterns am I repeating without even realizing? These questions aren't dramatic. They're essential. And 5 quiet minutes a day can bring them to the surface. This habit also creates a space where you can catch yourself in the moment. You start to notice, I'm feeling anxious. Why? I'm snapping at people. It's going on beneath that. And instead of numbing out or blaming others, you take responsibility for your inner world. You shift your energy before it spirals. That's emotional maturity. That's inner leadership. And it starts with 5 minutes of awareness. You don't need a meditation cushion. You don't need a fancy app. You don't need to do it perfectly. Just need to commit to those 5 minutes like they matter, because they do. Over weeks and months, they build momentum. They create a foundation of calm in a world that constantly pulls you in every direction. They become a ritual of returning home to yourself. When you start and end your day with that kind of intention, begin to move differently. You speak with more purpose. You make decisions from clarity, not chaos. You stop letting the outside world decide how you feel inside, and little by little start to build a life that reflects who you truly are, not who the world told you to be. One powerful moment at a time, one day at a time, one habit that rewires your energy from the inside out. Often want results quickly. We want breakthroughs, transformations, and life changes to happen overnight. But the truth is, real and lasting change doesn't come from one big moment. It comes from the small things done consistently over time. It's the quiet discipline of a habit repeated daily, not because it's exciting, because it's effective. That's the beauty of the compound effect. And when you apply to your inner world, your mindset, your emotions, your belief systems, it becomes the most powerful force you'll ever experience. At first, it might not feel like anything is changing. You take 5 minutes to journal, reflect, or speak affirmations, and your life still looks the same. But what you don't see right away is what's happening beneath the surface. Every time you choose presence instead of distraction, every time you challenge a negative thought, every time you write a few words that shift your perspective, you are building something. You are rewiring your brain. You are planting seeds that will eventually become your new reality. Think about it like this. Your mind is like a field, and your habits are the seeds you plant. You can't dig up the seed every day and demand results. You just have to trust the process, water it daily, and know that with time it will grow. That's how the compound effect works. One drop of change, repeated again and again, creates waves you can't even imagine in the beginning. This is why people who stick to simple daily practices like journaling, visualization, gratitude, and self-reflection start to seem different over time. They become calmer, clearer, more confident. They don't get as shaken by life. It's not because life got easier. It's because their foundation got stronger. They built emotional and mental muscle that others can't see. But that shows up in how they carry themselves, how they respond to challenges, how they pursue their goals with quiet certainty. And here's the thing, the compound effect doesn't only apply to the good habits. It's always working either for you or against you. If you skip your reflection one day, nothing changes. But if you keep skipping it for weeks, you start to drift. If you ignore your thoughts, they start to run you. If you allow negative self-talk to go unchecked, it becomes a belief. That's the hidden cost of inconsistency, not just in what you do, but in who you become. On the flip side, when you stay committed, even imperfectly, you start to shift your identity. You start to see yourself as someone who shows up for yourself, someone who honors your growth, someone who doesn't need to be perfect but refuses to quit. That inner trust you build by doing the small things daily is what creates unshakable self-confidence. It's what gives you the courage to dream bigger, to take risks, and to keep going when things get hard. This is why 5 minutes matters. This is why one page in your journal matters. This is why repeating the same empowering thought every day, even when it feels boring, matters. Because you're not just doing a task, you're becoming someone new. And that transformation is subtle at first. You'll only start to notice it when you realize that your reactions have softened, your energy is lighter, your self-talk is kinder. Catch yourself in moments of strength that used to shake you. You'll realize you're not just surviving anymore. You're leading yourself forward. People often miss this because they're chasing intensity. They want the dramatic change, the overnight shift. But real change is built in silence. It's built in the unseen moments, in the early mornings when no one's watching, in the late nights when you could give up but don't. That's when the compound effect is doing its quiet work, building resilience, sharpening your vision, aligning you with your future. Eventually you wake up and realize that your world has changed. Not because someone rescued you, but because you rescued yourself. One choice, one habit, one moment at a time. You stopped waiting for the right time and made now the right time. You stopped needing motivation and built discipline. And that becomes your power, not just the power to change your life, but to sustain it, to expand it, to keep growing no matter what. This is how lasting transformation happens, not in one leap, but in consistent, intentional steps forward. Small wins repeated daily, truth practiced in private, energy shifted one thought at a time. That's the compound effect, and that's how you build a world from the inside out. Most people move through life in a kind of autopilot. They wake up, follow the same routine, think the same thoughts, feel the same emotions, and take the same actions day after day. It feels safe, familiar, but deep down something feels off. They know they were meant for more, and yet nothing changes because they haven't yet built the one habit that separates those who merely exist from those who evolve. The habit of becoming the conscious architect of their mindset. To truly change your world, you have to stop reacting to life and start creating it. That shift happens when you become deeply intentional about how you think. Your mindset is the lens through which you interpret everything. It colors your reality. It determines what you notice, what you focus on, what you believe is possible. And the most powerful part, you get to design that lens. You get to choose the thoughts you amplify, the emotions you entertain, and the stories you believe. When you begin to cultivate this habit, to wake up and check in with your thoughts the way you'd check the mirror before stepping outside, you stop letting old programming run the show. You start catching yourself in moments of fear, judgment, or scarcity, and instead of letting those thoughts shape your actions, you pause. You become the observer, not the reactor. You begin to ask, is this thought aligned with the life I want to create? Does this belief empower me or limit me? Is this pattern helping me evolve or keeping me stuck? That kind of awareness is rare. But it is everything, because once you see the pattern, you're no longer trapped in it. Once you name the belief, you take its power away. Once you observe the trigger, you choose your response. That is what it means to take your power back, not just in moments of strength, but in the quiet, ordinary moments when no one else is watching. When you decide, I don't have to think this way anymore. I can choose better. I can choose different. And with that choice, you begin to reshape your identity. You stop being the version of yourself that was shaped by other people's opinions, childhood experiences, and unhealed wounds. You start becoming the version of yourself that you choose consciously every day, the one who speaks with purpose, the one who dreams with courage, the one who doesn't run from discomfort, but grows through it. That version has always been within you. This habit just brings them to the surface. It's not about being positive all the time. It's about being deliberate, about choosing your inner narrative instead of letting the world write it for you. It's about training your mind to respond with clarity, not chaos, to lean into possibility instead of fear, to ground yourself in truth when your emotions want to take over. That takes practice. That takes patience. But it also creates peace. This habit becomes your anchor. When life gets overwhelming, you return to it. When you're unsure, you center yourself in it. You ask, what belief do I need to hold right now? What energy do I want to show up with? What's the next best thought I can choose, even if everything feels uncertain? And you'll be surprised how often the answer is already within you, hidden beneath the noise, waiting to be heard. Over time, this habit doesn't just change how you think, it changes how you live. You stop chasing validation and start honoring your values. You stop performing and start aligning. You stop avoiding failure and start embracing growth. People around you will notice. They may not understand it, but they'll feel it. You'll carry a calm confidence, a quiet authority. You know who you are and you know who you're becoming. This is what it means to live awake, to live on purpose. To become the architect of your mindset is to stop handing over your thoughts to chance, pain, or programming, and to start designing a mental and emotional environment that reflects your highest self. It's the difference between drifting and directing, between surviving and creating, between staying stuck and stepping into your power. And once you build this habit of tuning in, observing, questioning, and consciously choosing, you never go back to who you were. You only move forward, one empowered thought at a time. So now you know it's not about waiting for the perfect moment or the right circumstances or some grand breakthrough to transform your life. It's about building one powerful habit that becomes the foundation for everything else, the habit of living with conscious intention. Through daily self-reflection, intentional thinking, journaling, energetic alignment, and consistent repetition, you don't just change your habits, you change who you are. You become the kind of person who leads your life from the inside out. You stop chasing the world and start shaping it with your presence, your mindset, your energy. Remember, this transformation doesn't happen in a single moment. It happens in small, repeated moments that compound into greatness. You already have everything you need within you. And with one habit practiced daily, you can access that power, rewrite your story, and truly change your world.